Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the RBS Sphere podcast. I am your host, Collins Wasilwa. So, today we are gonna be continuing the series, The Enemy is Much Bigger, which is all about Satan's appropriation agenda. This is part 2 of the series, so make sure you subscribe here on YouTube. Make sure to visit my website and subscribe so you won't miss on updates and happenings around RBS Sphere. Alright, so just a quick recap of what we covered in part 1 of the series. We talked about replacement theology of the Eurocentric Christianity. We talked about Renaissance as well, and why we see replacement of black images of Christ and Hebrews replaced with European images. It's because they teach what we call replacement theology, that they are the Hebrews and they are the chosen people. And so from that, they believe that race doesn't matter in the Bible. They convince themselves that because they have changed so much stuff in the Bible, it's no longer important to identify those people of the Bible. They also teach that Hebrews scattered and mixed into the world, even though the Bible doesn't teach that. The Bible teaches that Hebrews would be slaves, and that Hebrews would be taken into the world by slavery, and they would be treated in a certain kind of harsh way. This doesn't coincide with what the Eurocentric Christianity teaches about them, migrating and mixing, and that's not what happened. Now, moving on. We had talked about the concept of cultural appropriation in the first place. Like now, turning on a music video and you see a white guy rapping. We know rap is not their culture, but them trying to appropriate our culture. Now, I'm not saying it's anything wrong for them embracing our culture and participating in it, but we see that they do absorb our culture to an extent that they want to be more like us. They rob us our culture, and there's a problem here. People should really look into this. Why is it that they are trying to be like us? They took our people into slavery. They took our inventions to the patent office. And now they have taken our music industry. They own it. They own the culture, the corporate companies, everything you see. So ask yourself, why are they trying to be like ourselves and own our stuffs? If we look around, we can see it with our own eyes, and the Bible once told us about it. Look at history, for example, the Bible. Europeans have culturally appropriated the Bible to an extent that many of our Hebrew brothers and sisters today think that the Bible was invented by Rome and the Caucasians. And this is not true. The English language is made up of a bunch of different languages. Basically, Europeans appropriated portions of other languages and they created their own language out of it. Food, Southwestern food is a perfect example of an Americanized or culturally appropriated food. All they did was take Mexican and Native American foods and put an American spin on it, but it's not the original food. So think about it. And now, concerning identity in cultural appropriation, Hebrews, the hugest one, we see the pictures of white Hebrews all over the place, or white Christ. And because the Bible says Hebrews look like Egyptians, now we are seeing an attempt, and it's not new. It started probably a long time ago. The attempt to appropriate the Egyptian culture by Europeans. In movies and films, Egyptians are presented to be more European than African. And several scientists and researchers have responded to that and said that it is so misleading. It will give people the wrong idea of ancient Egypt. And now going deeper into the cultural appropriation in respect to our culture, and this part I've been more into lately, and now that I've become a lot more aware of what's going on around us as a society, I started looking at culture as we know it, and it has been so much appropriated. Let's start with music. Music, for example, is the hugest one. Starting with the music we hear on radio, it's all about drugs, sex, and violence lifestyle. That is what is presented to predominantly black audience. And in hip hop, for instance, drugs in hip hop has been huge. Sex also is presented to us. We see half naked women dancing all those videos, and you don't think anything up when you are younger, but as you start getting older, you start to see that it becomes more and more sexual. Look at the R&Bs, a lot of more sexual in mental, sexual in nature, I mean. And then we have violence, thug or gang lifestyle that is portrayed in music videos, as if it's something to be proud of. And notice that in music, not just videos, but in the music, it's okay to rap about black people killing black people, but if you will start rapping about Jews killing Jews, or if you will start rapping about black people killing Jews or black people killing white people, there will be boycotts everywhere. But because they are talking about black people killing other black people and perpetrating a stereotype of black on black violence, it's okay. Why? Do your research on that. Do your research on it. A deep one, I mean. So why is it that they promote rappers only in this way? Let's talk about it. The music industry is controlled mostly by Jews and Caucasians. Jews are actually Caucasians, but I'm just going to separate, the groups that I'm talking about. When I use the term Jew here, I'm not talking about anybody fully Judah. I'm not talking about Hebrews. I'm talking about people in Israel right now claiming to be Jews when they are not. So they are running the music industry. Look at all the major labels. They are run by the Jews. We have Jewish lawyers that partner with the artists, and in most cases the managers are Jewish. And so these are the same groups of people that were behind the slave trade. And because they finance the slave trade, and because they have appropriated the Bible, and they have appropriated the EE culture, their goal is now to keep the real Hebrews down. And so they do that by controlling the culture, and in this case, the music culture. And now, if all our kids see on TV is drugs, sex, violence, and that's the culture we are proud of again, what do you think they are gonna do? The latest one, and it kind of irritates me the most, but all the kids calling themselves savages. It's crazy because that is the reason that the Europeans used to justify killing us and the Native Americans in the first place. That is the reason that they used to justify enslaving us. It's because they call them savages. And now, basically, the black youths are trying to reverse everything. Everything that was fought for and accomplished during the civil rights movement. And now the movement, they no longer call them savages. And now our kids are calling themselves savages for them. So when they are now shot by the police, they can use that excuse and say, oh, see right here, he says he's a savage. He says he owns guns. He says he does drugs. He says he's a womanizer. So they can use all these tips against us through the music. That's why when you see a black person caught by the police, the first thing they do is they go into their apartment and they say they found drugs, as if drugs justify. So they are the things you need to be aware of. And now addressing the wider part of it, when you see the music videos, what do you see? You see the sucking of pants, or now the feminizing of the black man, skinning jeans, skirts in hip hop, fingers done and polished, eye sexuality, transgender, lesbianism, and gayism. We have all these steps going on in the hip hop right now. Everything you possibly think of, and this is in our culture. It is not black culture. And here we don't see positive rappers. They are there, but they don't push positive rappers through the mainstream media. Why? What happens is these people have wardrobe consultancy and stylist staff. They tell them how they have to dress for the label. So a lot of times you see those rappers going out in public and doing videos and stuff like that. They have somebody that's raising them to appeal a certain crowd and portray a certain image. That is why we have naked women, or which I mentioned earlier. They throw all our black women on screen half naked, sexualizing black women. Now, they do this to a degree. White art forms, I'll say it that way, because we know the blues, country music, stuffs they stole from us, it's something they appropriated, I'll say, but they always do it to a certain degree. They always do it to our women, even some pop stars. And then they emphasize playing over investing. They show as, you got to get the jewelry, the cars, but they will never talk about what to do thereafter. They don't talk about investing. They don't teach us about residual income. They teach us to just go buy a bar, get all the ligas, you can get all the women, so you can be seen as that guy or that guy. So these are the things that they want us to believe we need to do. And so you see that a lot of our kids, and I don't like this, they get a lot of money. They don't want to invest it. They want to go spend it. People get their taxes returned, but they go buy a new car, and then the car gets reported a year later because they can't keep up on the bills. And so now they don't have the tax returns money. They don't have the car. The credit is messed up. And this is all because they are trying to idolize the lifestyle they see on TV. Now imagine if they saw something different. It would be a whole different kind of a ball game. And now, moving on to the movies and TV films, we see the stereotypical black roles on TV. If you really pay attention to the body of works, you will see what I mean. Slave roles, drag roles, We got a ton of slave movies, we got a ton of gangster movies, and our people are always portrayed as pimps, drug dealers, gangsters, hustlers. Um, all these movies remind us that we are slaves, that all we can be is drug dealers or basketball players, basically saying that all we can be is entertainers in some capacity. And when we have a leading black woman part, the counterpart or husband or lover interest, almost always a white male. Um, Black males get roles of thugs, gangsters, absentee father roles, hustler roles, rapists. We get stereotypical roles. This is the projecting we see. And once again, Jews and Europeans control the movie and TV industry. So there is a certain way you have to act. So Europeans have appropriated now and they control what we perceive to be the black culture, the music we listen to, the movies we see, the way we dress, the way we spend our money, because they want us to believe that this is the lifestyle we should have, when in reality they are taking all their money they are making from us and they are investing it for their kids. They are starting up transfers for their kids' accounts, putting money for their kids' college. They are buying real estates so they can own staffs. They are starting up these companies. Now, the problem is here. For this to stop, we as a people, as individuals, we don't need to rally, we don't need to gather or state a movement. You as an individual have to make a decision that you are not going to buy the trash they push out. You as an individual, it doesn't matter what everybody else is doing, but don't buy their trash. So keep that in mind. And if you like the show, share it on your social media handles, share it and pray for it. Pray for it. Also, make sure you go grab your copy of Getting Off the White Supremacy Matrix, which is for the empowerment of the black community. It's available on Amazon.com. And that is for today. Until next time, I'm out.